Okay, you guys, I got all the way to the end of this video and I completely forgot. Let's start out with hi. Let's start out with this is going to be a trigger warning video. If you do not want to hear about traumatic events, if you do not want to hear about end of life type of things, if you don't want to hear about abuse, domestic or otherwise, please check out another one of the videos and I will see you in the next one. But if you are okay with hearing what has happened in my life to lead me to this place, this is that story. Hello. Yes, I know. I've been very vague lately about like my past and what has happened to me and my family. But I will say this. I've talked about it before. I have talked about it before. I just don't think those videos are live anymore. I think it's because it's so sunny outside and I'm a little stressed out today. So I think that might be what's causing this. But plus I didn't get very much sleep last night. I decided that what I was going to do was go over what actually has happened because I know that I've done it before and I don't mind sharing at all. But my problem is I wanted to try to keep my family's anonymity as best as I could because I have not spoken to them about sharing their story. And yes, it's my story too, but it's also theirs. And I don't want to infringe upon their privacy if they're not ready to, have the whole world know about it. So here we go. This is actually, you're going to be hearing my mother's voice. Okay. My mother did this at her church service. This was her sharing her testimony. So the best way that I can do this, and I'm not going to really interject a lot because this is her story. This is her telling her story. But I do need to make it where it is shareable for me. So I will interject whenever I feel like I need to. I also have done my best to bleep out any identifying markers, which is why I'm not showing you the video. Instead, I'm just going to let you listen to the audio. And I have bleeped out her name, my dad's name, my brother's name. I think she said the address. She might have said the date too. I'm not sure, but I bleeped out the best I could. Editing Delilah here. I'm so sorry. I thought I had mentioned this and I guess I didn't, but I wanted to let you know that if you or anybody that you know is being abused, is being hurt, is emotional, financial, physical, please know that there is help. You don't deserve that. You don't have to stay. I'm going to include a phone number that you can call 24/7 that will get you help. They'll get you the help you need. Please know you're not alone.
Oh, she's going to share her story.
Thank you. You're welcome. Hi, my name is Lee, and I met my first husband when I was 13 years old, and I married him. Well, I got pregnant at 15, and I got married. And then I had my daughter, and my husband at that time would hit me.
My mom says that the abuse began when she was pregnant with me. She didn't realize that it was abusive yet. She didn't realize what it was going to be coming to, but it was sort of like a controlling sort of thing. But the physical abuse started while she was pregnant with me.
He would hit me, beat me up, and then say sorry, and I forgave him, and I believed that I could maybe love him enough to fix him. Maybe, he's going to change, but he didn't. He got worse and worse. So I had my son at 16. So I have 2 children from this man. And he would beat me in front of my children. He would pull knives out on me. He would pull my hair. He I was, like I told you, I was 13. Then I'm 23. And I told him, I can't live like this anymore. This is crazy. Our kids are going to grow up. They're seeing their father beating up their mother. And I hit him back, but I never won. And he didn't care. And I knew my kids are either going to beat people up or get beat up because that's what they know, what they see. And it's not okay. If you're getting hurt or hit, leave. I know this now, but okay, I stayed.
Please, please take that warning. Do not take it lightly. If they do it once, they will do it again and again and again. And you do not know what they are capable of. You do not know if it will end at a simple slap, if it'll end at a simple threat, if it'll end with you in the hospital, or if it'll end with you in a grave. You don't know. You might think you know because you love them and they could never do that to you, but they could, and they likely will. Please, please, if you take nothing else from this, take her warning, please.
And he ended up shooting me. And he did this in front of our 2 children. My husband, that I was with since 13 to 23, I have 2 children with, decided to shoot me with a .22 at close range in front of our 2 children. My 6-year-old son and my 7-year-old daughter. They witnessed this. They saw their daddy trying to kill their mommy, and he shot me 9 times in the head at close range. I had long hair then. All my hair flew in my face, blood splattered everywhere. I'm sitting on my bed, and I knew he was going to do this. What my fear was, my kids, I asked them to leave the room and they wouldn't. They were afraid to leave me. And their dad told them to get out, and they didn't. My daughter was standing on this side. My husband at the time was in the middle, and my son was on this side.
Basically, she's saying that we were standing on either side of my dad.
Kids were watching at close range. They saw this. That haunts me to this day. I was 23, I'm 57. It haunts me that my kids witnessed this. It's unbearable. But the doctors said I wouldn't live, that I wouldn't see morning. They said I still have 3 bullets in me. I have 1 in my brain in the middle. I have 1 in my throat. They said I wouldn't speak. I have 1 in my spine. They said I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. They said I would be a vegetable. But I told them no. The reason I knew that that was not going to be me is because it shot me. That was my husband. When he did this to me in front of our children, I had an out-of-body experience. I got to see Rodriguez leave with my 2 children. I saw him, and he cared nothing about my kids, our kids. He took them without jackets. He came back in, and he grabbed himself a jacket, and he left. So I'm alone, and at that time, there was no cell phones. This was March 18th, 1989, and it happened at apartment number 13. What amazed me is I could think, I could speak. I called 911. I told them what my husband did to me and that he took our 2 children. Please make sure they're okay. I need to know this. And when this happened, before I called 911, I had the out-of-body experience. So I'm falling over, and I feel the blood falling out of me, the draining out of me. I feel freezing. I'm so cold. And I'm so scared because I was looking, I thought God is there. I couldn't understand. I'm good to my husband. Why is he allowing this to happen to me? But I didn't know God loved me and he was there all along. I didn't know this. But yet I'm falling over and I feel that I'm gonna die. And I know for a fact that when you die, I know your soul leaves your body, because mine did. And I got to see this like looking in a mirror. I was this close looking at myself. I was staring at myself like, how can that be me? I'm me. And I'm seeing the blood and I'm seeing the room. I'm seeing the blood all over my walls, all over my bed. And I'm staring and I'm tripping out like, how can that be me? And I'm getting further. And the demons came and they grabbed me, one on each side.
So if you've ever seen the movie Ghost with Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze, remember that movie came out in 1990. This happened to my mom in March of 1989. She has never wavered on the way that she explains this. She didn't have a chance to explain it here because she had very limited time. I think they gave her 8 minutes and she went over that. But she will tell you that when the demons grabbed her, that they were shadows. Like they were not, they were shadows. They had no faces, no nothing. They were just black shadows. And when we saw the movie Ghosts and that scene where the shadows come and take the person away after they died, my mom says that's exactly, whoever wrote that scene, whoever animated that scene, they've had to have had an out-of-body experience similar to this. They have had to have a near-death experience like this, because there's no way that they would have known what it was like for her to have gone through this and see this, and they portrayed it perfectly.
And they got so much pleasure from my fear. Because let me tell you, there's no fear like that fear. None, not even getting shot. None, combined all my beatings, everything combined. Nothing compares to that fear. Nothing. They were holding me and laughing, and I'm scared to death, and I'm getting further and further, and I'm falling over. I'm almost falling on my bed. And I'm so scared. And I thought, that's me. I must be dead. I have nothing more except I remember I got shot at my face, my head, and I said, God, forgive me. The second I said it, the demons let go. They have to flee. And when they did, the Lord embraced me. And I can't tell you how that love felt. I can't explain it. The best way to explain it to you is combine all the love you've ever felt from your children, your spouses, your parents, everybody combined. Don't even come close. The Lord embraced me, and I remember I wasn't afraid. I felt total peace. I didn't care if I died. I cared Lila, my children. What's going to happen to Delilah? Lord, please, you can't take me. What's going to happen to them? I have to know that they're okay. I have to know this. And I remember confessing everything to the Lord. And I remember saying to him, Lord, if you let me live, I promise you, I promise, I will tell anyone that will listen. I will tell everyone what you did for me. And I will show them that I'm a walking, talking testimony for you, Lord.
Now, she says that, and it's true. She does live that way now. many years between that happening and her turning her life over to God went by. Many years. Many years of stuff going on in between that. And in those many years in between, I used to go to church when I was that young. And I used to pray for my mom all the time, that I wanted her to be saved. I wanted her to stop smoking. I wanted her to stop drinking. I wanted her to understand that she was loved and she didn't need love from outside people. She needed it from God. And that's what her life was needing. And that's what it was lacking. And I'm just a kid. And this is the way that I used to pray. And I used to tell my mom to her face. And my mom would tell me, yeah, just stay home with us. We're going to have a barbecue. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Just stay home. She didn't want me to go to church. And I know that even though she had this experience, she was still fighting what was happening inside of her. And my mom is a completely different mother today than she was then. Back then, things were not always good. Back then, my mom was not always nice to me. And I'm not talking about when she was with my dad. I'm talking about after, when my dad went to prison. My mom was very angry. And rightfully so. Look what happened to her. And part of me always believed that she blamed me because I was the reason she got married. If she wouldn't have gotten pregnant, she wouldn't have gotten married. And I'm the firstborn, so it's my fault. And I blamed myself for years and years and years. And my mom to this day says she doesn't know why she was that way. She just knows that she's sorry. And if she could change it, she would, but she can't. And she knows it. And she does her best now. But those many years after that and the way that I was treated affected me too. Not just this personal, not just this incident, but I watched for 7 years my dad beat my mom every single day. Every single day. And then I watched this happen. And then I experienced the anger that this event caused. And then my dad didn't want a relationship with me, and all I wanted was, to be loved by my mom and my dad, and I didn't have that. At least I didn't feel that I did. I felt like a burden more than anything else.
And he did. And the doctor said that I would be what I said. They said, you'll never have hair on this side because I have a plate this big on the side of my head. But you know what? The Lord gave me hair. They said you can't grow hair. The doctors told me you cannot grow hair through a metal plate. That's like saying you're going to have hair grow out of your TV, was their explanation to me. And I said, no, if you just experience what I experienced. I told the doctors, I'm glad you're going to work on me, but it's not you. I just spoke to God. He's not going to leave me the way you're saying. I'm going to walk and talk, and I do. And you know what? To this day, the doctors don't understand why I'm here. They don't understand how I'm walking, how I'm in my right mind, and I'm remarried, and I'm now with a Christian man.
Okay, so that is my mom's story. That is our story. That is what happened. Obviously, that's not everything that I've gone through in my life. That is the most traumatic, and that is the reason why I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I am triggered by loud, sudden sounds. If I don't expect something and a sound happens, it flips me out. Like I returned to that little girl who watched and heard that gun go off. And it just takes me back there. And a lot of people don't understand it, and they just make fun of me, and they intentionally will try to scare me by, doing something sudden. Or they used to come up behind me and scream as loud as they could and shake me and grab me. And they thought it was funny. They didn't understand what it would do to me mentally. They didn't understand the trauma that they were causing me to relive. And even if they did understand, some of them didn't care. And I still to this day, it's been 36 years, and I still to this day get triggered by things like that. Something could fall. Like, it could be something like inconspicuous, something that I never expected. A bird could hit the window, and it scares me. And it really, really, my heart starts to race, and I start to panic, and I get really anxious and nervous because I don't know why it happened, and what is that is like, I don't understand. And being a kid, after that happened, my dad took me and my brother to his mom's house. His mom and dad were married until my grandpa died, like 3 or 4 years ago. I was living here in Texas when it happened. I'm pretty sure he died when I was in New Orleans with David. And that was in 2019. And my grandfather was there. And my dad's youngest brother, my dad's the second to the last of the 9 kids. And my dad's youngest brother and my grandpa were there. Where was my grandma? Well, it turns out my dad called my mom after he did that from our house. We don't have cell phones in those days, so he called from our landline. He told my grandma what he did. And my grandma went over there. Instead of calling the police, instead of taking us, instead of helping, she just went over there. She watched. And my grandfather and my uncle never even stepped foot out of their rooms. They left us there by ourselves. My dad took us there, sat us on the couch, went to my uncle's room and told him, my kids are in the living room, look out for them. He told him, I'm trading you cars. He took my uncle's car and he left. And he left us there. And my uncle and my grandfather never once checked on us. We were crying and upset and scared. And nobody cared to even check on us. Give us a hug, give us a glass of water, even a blanket. Nothing. They left us on the couch like that. My brother was covered in my mom's blood because my brother decided that he wanted to hide from my dad, and he rolled himself up in a ball and he laid next to my mom under the blanket with her. He covered them with the blanket so that he could be hidden. And my dad got him and pulled him up by his pajamas. Didn't even change him. They left us like that. And my brother fell asleep in my lap, covered in my mom's blood. And in that moment, I don't know how, to this day I still don't know why I thought this, but I told myself, we now are alone, and it's just the two of us. I thought my mom was dead, and I overheard my dad telling my uncle he was in love, and my uncle was like, okay, bye. I don't think he took him seriously, but I was 7 and I took him seriously. And I thought, okay, we don't have parents anymore. We're orphans now. It's just the two of us. And we're going to grow up right now. Like, there's no more childhood anymore. But it doesn't have to be that way for both of us. And I promised myself that I would do everything in my power to allow my brother to remain a child for as long as he could, and that I would take over the responsibility of being the adult. And I would do whatever I could to ensure that he didn't have to grow up so fast. And when the police came eventually and they took us to go be questioned and stuff, I would tell them, you're not allowed to ask him anything. You can ask me anything you want. We were both there, but I don't want him to have to talk about it if he doesn't want to. And they would say, okay. And I'm only 11 months older than my brother. I'm not even a whole year older than him. And I wouldn't let anybody talk to him. I wouldn't let anybody bring it up unless he wanted to bring it up. Unless he was volunteering to have this discussion, I wouldn't let them talk to him. And for 2 days, we thought my mom was dead. We were at my grandparents' house for those 2 days, and we didn't know any different. And then my mom's parents showed up with the police, and my aunt, one of my aunts, because my mom's one of 9 sisters, one of 12 siblings, and one of my aunts and my grandparents showed up with the police to get us. And my mom's parents, we call them abuelita, abuelito. And my dad's parents, we call them grandma and grandpa. So my grandpa said to the police, they're not going anywhere. They're staying here with us. And the police turned to me and said, you get a choice. Who do you want to go with? And I said, I want to go with my abuelita, abuelito. And they said, okay. And so I went to go get my stuff, and my grandfather said, that's where she's going. But my brother, he gets to make his own decision. And I looked at him and I said, he doesn't get a choice. He goes where I go, period. And the policeman asked my brother, do you want to stay here or do you want to go with your abuelita, abuelito? And my brother said, I go where she goes. I go with my sister. And the police said, okay. And my grandfather said, fine, you could take them, but they take nothing with them. And my dad took us literally with nothing. We were in the pajamas that we were in, and it was just a t-shirt, right? Like a t-shirt pajamas. We had nothing else. One of his brothers went to our house and picked out some clothes, threw them in a garbage bag, and dropped them off at my grandparents' house. They didn't even say a word to us. They just threw the garbage bag on the front porch and left. And so I told the police that we wanted to take our garbage bags with us, and my grandfather didn't want to let us. But the police said, look, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way, but don't do this to them. They're just kids. So my grandfather said, fine, whatever. And my abuelita, abuelito were saying, don't worry, we'll buy you new. It's okay. We'll take you to the store right now. We'll buy you anything you need. Don't worry about it. And it wasn't that I was worried about it. It was that I thought that my mom and my dad were both gone, and those were the only things we had left of the memories with them. It wasn't that I was attached to those things. It was that I was attached to those memories. And that was hard. It was really hard. But when we were in the backseat of my abuelito's car with my aunt sat between me and my brother, and she just like put her arms around us and was like kind of, cradling us, like cuddling with us. And my abuelita, abuelito don't speak English. And I was asking, if they knew what happened to my mom and like all this stuff. And they were telling us that she's alive. And I was like, no, she's not. She's dead. You weren't there. You didn't see. She couldn't have survived. And they said, no, she's alive. And I was like, you're lying. And I couldn't believe them. So they said, we'll take you to the hospital. We'll show you. And they did. They took us to the hospital and they showed us my mom. And my mom was bandaged up. And my mom only spent 13 days in the hospital. 13 days. And she had one experimental brain surgery there at the hospital during those 13 days. And then they put a piece of plastic where the now metal is, but they cut her skull, put a piece of plastic and shaved her head and sent her on her way. And then 6 months, they told her they had to wait to see I don't know why, I don't remember, but they had to wait 6 months to be able to go back in and then replace it with metal. So 6 months after that, they did another brain surgery, another experimental brain surgery at that. 6 months later, and she had to be awake through all of it. They said they couldn't put her to sleep, otherwise she may never wake up. And so she had to be awake through them cutting open her skull, them poking at her literal brain, trying to pull out pieces of bullets. And she still, you know, like she said, she still has a bullet in her brain, a bullet in her throat, and a bullet in her spine. But she's a walking, talking miracle. And that woman has a head of hair like you wouldn't believe. And that's God. That's God. Yeah. I didn't realize that it would turn into this, and I'm sorry, but I hope you guys are having a great day. I'd love to hear all about it in the comments down below. Go ahead and let me know how you're doing. I want to support you the way you support me. I want to give you your digital hugs. Let's go ahead and leave a high five emoji in the comments down below. Lets me know you made it this far. I promise the next video won't be so emotional. Hope you guys are having a great day.